Welcome to Pauline's place. I'm holding some books because I'm sorting books and thinking about my friend Alla, great mathematician. And I'm standing in front of a painting done by one of the boys who's in her maths class, who's really got a lot of talent. That's Tony, but he loves painting. It's all connected. I want you to see another part of the interview that I had with Alla that day. Because how does someone get to where they are? How does a mathematics professor come to New Zealand all the way from Russia? Well, listen to her story. Well, Alla, I have a question for you. How did you come here? You were in Russia, and then a little while later you were in New Zealand. Tell us about that journey. How did you come, and what were you doing before you came?
Oh yes, it's big journey and long story, but I will try to be short. A bit of my background and history. So actually, I was born in Ukraine, but my father was army officer and he moved from one place to another. So I just was born in Ukraine and then moved to Belarus, then moved to Russia. And most of my life I spent in Russia, lived in Russia. But last 6 years, my family moved to Ukraine again. And then we decided to come to New Zealand. It was 1996, so we arrived to New Zealand in 1st of March 1996.
Was it easy coming from your country? What decision? How did you make that decision?
Yeah. A situation in Russia, and that was big decision. You know, we lived in Soviet Union. Then in 1991, they separated. All 16 republics of the Soviet Union separated. And Soviet system collapsed, and big chaos back in Russia. Actually, I want to say I absolutely don't say for Soviet system. I always say that it was. I realized that in New Zealand that I lived in big prison and big concentration camp. That's my personal feeling, opinion, and my experience. But when system collapsed, I always say that very good from historical point of view, of course. But for people who lived at that time, and that was a really big event and not a good situation. Established happened in Russia because actually criminals and mafia they took power, they start creating their personal rules, and people lost, didn't know what to do, and huge inflation, and not only it was really difficult to live. That's the story on the surface. For example, I was an associate professor at university. My husband was an associate professor and head of department. And our salary wasn't enough even for food for family. We have one son. I remember how my son asked, Mom, I want you to buy me jeans. I said, we can't, because a pair of jeans cost like my monthly salary. And he was kid and he asked me, why you can't afford that? Situation was quite difficult, and there were war in some places in Russia, and we wanted to provide better future for our son and for ourselves. It was a huge decision, but we decided to move to New Zealand.
Alla, why New Zealand?
Many people ask that. The reason very simple. It was only country who accepted people for their education point system without money. We were from Soviet Union and didn't have any money. And fortunately, thank you, New Zealand.
That's wonderful. I'm so proud of New Zealand for doing that. I hope they keep doing it. Alla, I want to talk to you some more, but I'll just say this is a start. Some of you have got big journeys ahead of you, and they're not always geographic, but Alla's journey, I think, will help us all.